Leo Marin was not having a good morning. In fact, he had never had a morning quite like this. He had spilled coffee on his favorite shirt, tripped over a loose floorboard, and stepped on his cat, Mr. Whiskers, all before breakfast. The engineer in him sighed. Logic dictated that the universe must be out of balance today, but human emotions dictated that it was just going to get worse. He wiped the coffee off his shirt with a rag that had more holes than fabric and glanced around his small backyard. Normally, this yard was peaceful, filled with the soft hum of nature and the occasional chirping bird. But today, the world seemed restless. The wind carried a strange electric scent, and the air shimmered like a mirage. Leo squinted, shielding his eyes. A faint hum began, rising steadily, and the ground under his feet vibrated lightly. Before he could even react, the center of his backyard split with a crackling light, like a tear in reality itself. It swirled, spiraled, and expanded, until the air seemed to twist into colors he had no names for. Leo stumbled backward, tripping over Mr. Whiskers again, and fell into a heap. From the center of the glowing portal, a figure stepped out. It was tall, taller than any human by far, with skin that shimmered like polished metal and eyes that glowed a soft blue. It was wearing robes of fabric that looked like liquid glass, moving with a life of their own. The figure raised a hand in a gesture that seemed polite, yet somehow commanding. Leo scrambled to his feet, heart pounding. Hello? His voice cracked. Mr. Whiskers hissed from behind a bush. The alien spoke, but the words weren't in any language he recognized. Then, a soft tone in his mind translated them instantly. Greetings, Earth being. You are invited to participate in the Tournament of Bonds. The prize, the hand of Princess Zyra, daughter of Emperor Zyfor. Do you accept? Leo blinked. He had a vivid imagination, but this was insane. Is this some kind of prank? Like a really elaborate alien prank? The figure tilted its head, and a shimmer of what Leo guessed was amusement passed over its features. This is no prank. You have been entered accidentally by the Galactic Registry. Compliance is optional, but participation is recommended. Leo's mind raced. Accidental. Entered. Registry. Wait, I'm in some kind of alien marriage tournament? He laughed nervously. I don't even know what that is. I'm just... a normal human engineer. I can barely manage my laundry, let alone intergalactic competitions. The alien stepped closer. Its voice, calm but firm, echoed in his thoughts. Normal is relative.
Your species has qualities that are unpredictable.
Unpredictability is valued. The first challenge begins shortly. You may refuse, but your species will miss the opportunity to demonstrate its potential. Leo's pulse raced. His first thought was to run. His second thought was that running probably wouldn't help if the alien had technology to bend space and time. His third thought, strangely, was curiosity. Fine, he said finally, brushing dust off his pants. I guess I'm in. But I have no idea what I'm doing. The alien's eyes twinkled and the air shimmered around it. That alone may be enough. With a wave of its hand, a small platform rose from the ground, glowing with energy. The alien gestured for him to step onto it. Leo hesitated, looking down at the spinning lights, then stepped forward. The moment his feet touched the platform, the world around him blurred. Colors rushed past, stars and shapes he could not name streaking by, and a weightless sensation made him feel as if he were falling and floating at the same time. When he opened his eyes again, he was standing on a vast floating arena. The ground beneath him glimmered like glass, reflecting the twin suns overhead. Towers of unknown design spiraled into the sky, and flying ships zipped past in intricate patterns. Creatures of all shapes, colors, and sizes moved across the arena, preparing for what he could only assume was the tournament. Leo's jaw dropped. Okay, this is real. A loud horn echoed across the arena, followed by a booming voice that reverberated in his chest. Welcome, contestants, to the Tournament of Bonds. Prepare for the first trial. Let it begin. Contestants scurried into position. Leo looked around and noticed the diversity of species. Some were large, towering over even the tallest humans, with multiple limbs or wings. Others were small and sleek, darting like shadows across the platform. One particularly shiny competitor approached him and spoke through the mental translator. You're a human? You don't stand a chance. This tournament requires strength, skill, strategy. How do you intend to compete? Leo gulped. I'm good at thinking. The shiny alien raised a cluster of antennae in disbelief. Thinking is rarely enough. The first trial appeared, a massive puzzle of energy channels suspended in the air. Light beams shot across a grid of floating platforms. The goal was clear: guide the energy from one point to another, using only the mechanisms provided. Most contestants immediately launched themselves at the puzzle. Some tried brute force, channeling their energy to force the lights into position. Others used telepathy or projected holographic manipulations. The puzzle flickered and shifted constantly, designed to thwart every standard strategy. Leo stepped forward slowly, observing. He noticed patterns that others ignored. Small inconsistencies in the shifting energy beams, subtle rhythms in the way the platforms tilted, tiny markings on the sides that suggested a sequence. He pulled out a small multi-tool from his pocket. Nothing fancy, just something he carried for his tinkering projects. With careful adjustments, he created a small device that nudged the energy beams into alignment. One by one, the beams connected. A soft chime echoed, signaling completion. Leo raised his hands in disbelief. I did it? Other contestants stared. The shiny alien muttered in shock, antennae twitching. Impossible. He's human. A new horn sounded. The next trial appeared, a maze of shifting mirrors. Each path reflected multiple realities, making it almost impossible to know which way to go. Many contestants tried to project themselves forward mentally, attempting to predict the correct path. They failed repeatedly, their minds tangled in illusions. Leo, however, noticed the simplest detail. The reflections changed only when he moved. He traced the edges of the mirrors carefully, marking patterns in the ground. He used small stones to mark turns, physically testing paths before committing. Slowly but surely, he navigated the maze, emerging ahead of most competitors. By now, whispers spread across the arena. Humans were supposed to be weak, slow, and clumsy, and yet here was Leo, a single human, completing trials that confounded entire alien civilizations. Princess Zyra, watching from a balcony above, observed quietly. She had seen many contestants before, all arrogant, all focused on impressing her with strength or wealth. But Leo, he was different, curious, clever, and completely unpredictable. She tilted her head, a small smile playing across her lips. The third trial began, a test of diplomacy. Contestants were asked to negotiate peace between two alien factions locked in a centuries-long dispute. Most competitors relied on intimidation or demonstrations of power. Leo, however, took a different approach. He listened carefully, asked questions, and suggested compromises that no one else considered. Slowly, the factions began to see the merit in his ideas, and within the allotted time, the human solution was accepted unanimously. A cheer rang out, not loud like human cheers, but a deep vibration that resonated through the arena. The announcer's voice boomed. "The human shows remarkable adaptability and ingenuity. The unpredictable species proves its worth." Leo's head spun. He had not expected to impress anyone. He had just been trying to survive, to figure things out as he went along. But somehow, human creativity, his creativity, was shining across the galaxy. The final trial of the day appeared, and it was unlike anything Leo had seen. A floating obstacle course filled with shifting platforms, laser barriers, and moving sections of energy. Competitors leapt and flew using various abilities. Leo had no special powers. No wings, no telepathy, no energy manipulation. All he had was his mind and his ability to improvise. He studied the course carefully, observing patterns and timings. He noticed that the moving platforms had a subtle rhythm, that some lasers paused for a moment longer than others, and that certain energy fields could be redirected with simple tools. Using ropes, pulleys, and parts from his multi-tool, he navigated the course with a combination of timing, balance, and clever tricks. By the end, he had not only completed the course, but had done so faster than most alien competitors. Gasps of surprise rippled through the audience. Even the most seasoned contestants looked stunned. Princess Syra leaned forward, intrigued. "This human is unlike any I have seen." Leo collapsed at the end of the course, panting, exhilarated, and terrified all at once. He looked around at the alien spectators, some of whom were cheering, some whispering, some simply staring in disbelief. He had survived the first day of the Tournament of Bonds. He had shown that humans, while small and seemingly ordinary, could outthink and outmaneuver beings far stronger, faster, and more advanced. As he caught his breath, the alien who had first entered him into the tournament approached. "You have exceeded expectations. The next day will challenge you in ways you cannot yet imagine. But do not worry. Your species' ingenuity will be its greatest asset." Leo nodded weakly, unsure whether he felt more proud or terrified. He looked up at the sky, twin suns casting light across the arena, and whispered to himself, "I have no idea what I'm doing. But maybe, just maybe, humans can do this." For the first time in his life, Leo felt something stronger than fear. He felt possibility. The universe was vast, strange, and frightening, but it was also a place where being human, unpredictable, and clever might just be enough to change everything. And so, the accidental human competitor, the one who had stumbled into a galactic tournament by sheer accident, survived the first trials. He had no idea what awaited him next, but one thing was certain. Earth had never had a representative like Leo Marin, and the galaxy had never seen a human quite like him. Leo woke to a sky that looked nothing like Earth's. Twin suns glared over the floating arena, casting long, shimmering shadows across platforms that hovered as if by magic. Yesterday's trials still replayed in his mind. The puzzle of energy beams, the mirror maze, the diplomatic negotiations. Somehow he had survived, even excelled. Somehow humans had impressed the galaxy. He stretched and rubbed his sore arms. His hands still ached from adjusting his multi-tool to the energy puzzle, and his legs were stiff from balancing across the floating platforms. Mr. Whiskers, inexplicably transported with him, yawned lazily, curling into a tiny ball of fur. Leo glanced down at the cat and muttered, "You're the only one who understands how messed up this is." He didn't have much time for reflection. A metallic hum signaled the beginning of the day's second set of trials. Contestants assembled at the central platform, their faces, or equivalent alien features, showing anticipation, excitement, or dread. Some eyed Leo cautiously, their earlier surprise tempered with a new respect. Others whispered that humans were an anomaly and dangerous in unpredictable ways. A booming voice echoed across the arena. "Welcome to the second stage of the Tournament of Bonds. Today, we test creativity, teamwork, and adaptability. Contestants will face challenges that will force them to think beyond the limits of their species. Let the trials commence." The first challenge appeared in the center of the arena, a massive, floating sphere that rotated slowly, covered with hundreds of small panels glowing with alien symbols. From the moment it appeared, competitors gasped. The panels rearranged themselves constantly, forming patterns and sequences that shifted unpredictably. Contestants were to unlock the sphere's core by arranging the panels correctly. Mistakes were met with sudden electrical pulses that knocked competitors off balance. Most aliens dove in immediately. Many relied on telepathy, manipulating panels with thought alone. Others used brute force, rotating sections with massive strength. Leo, however, hesitated. He scanned the sphere, noticing patterns in the panel's movements. They followed a rhythm, subtle but consistent, which no one else seemed to notice. He set his multi-tool on the ground and adjusted its styles. Using small mirrors and sensors, he reflected light onto specific panels at precise angles, nudging them into the correct position. The sphere hummed, clicked, and finally opened at its core. Leo stepped back, panting, as the crowd murmured. He had done it again, not by force, not by telepathy, but by observation, reasoning, and creativity. The shiny alien who had mocked him on the first day muttered under its breath, "He's impossible!" Before Leo could celebrate, the next trial began, a teamwork challenge. Contestants were split into groups of 3, chosen randomly. Leo found himself paired with 2 other species, a small, nimble creature with 6 arms and glowing eyes named Trilok, and a tall serpentine being with flowing silver scales named Zyra. They eyed him skeptically. "Human," Trilok said. "Do you even know how to cooperate?" Leo smiled nervously. I think I can. I'm good at listening and figuring things out." The task was laid out before them, a suspended field filled with glowing orbs, each representing a different type of energy. The goal was to collect and align the orbs to power a massive device on the other side of the field. But the catch: the orbs moved unpredictably, shifting in response to sound, motion, or thought. Only coordinated effort would succeed. Most teams panicked. Aliens argued, shouted, or tried to control the orbs individually. Leo suggested a plan. He instructed Trilok to use her 6 arms to block erratic orbs, Zyara to manipulate the energy currents with her tail, and he would calculate the movement patterns, positioning them strategically. Slowly, carefully, they moved through the field, communicating clearly, adjusting as needed. When the final orb slid into place, the device activated. A beam of energy shot into the sky, signaling their success. The audience, alien and human alike, cheered. Leo felt a surge of pride. He wasn't just surviving, he was leading, thinking, and proving that humans could thrive in situations no one expected. As the group gathered, Trilok looked at him with newfound respect. "You are not like the others. You think differently." Zyara nodded in agreement. "Perhaps humans are unpredictable in ways we underestimate." The next trial tested adaptability under pressure. A sudden storm erupted over the arena. Platforms shook violently, energy barriers flickered, and strong winds threatened to sweep contestants off the floating structures. Contestants had to navigate the unstable platforms while retrieving keys that would unlock the next stage of the tournament. Most beings panicked, their limbs or abilities insufficient against the chaotic storm. Leo focused. He noticed that the storm had patterns, a rhythm to the gusts and surges. Using ropes, pulleys, and his multi-tool, he anchored himself and his team to stable points. He created small counterweights to balance the platforms, allowing them to reach the keys safely. When the storm subsided, Leo's team had completed the trial, once again surprising everyone. The alien announcer's voice boomed. "The human continues to defy expectations. Creativity, logic, and adaptability are unmatched." By the end of the day, Leo was exhausted. Every muscle ached, every thought felt like it had been stretched to its limit. But the sense of accomplishment kept him going. He had navigated puzzles, teamwork challenges, and storms that would have defeated almost any competitor. More importantly, he had proven that humans could succeed through observation, reasoning, and collaboration, rather than relying on alien abilities that humans simply didn't possess. That evening, Leo sat on a floating balcony, watching the stars glimmer across the alien city below. Trilak joined him, offering a small, glowing fruit as a gesture of friendship. "You are a strange human," she said. "You do not fight or compete like the others. You think. Perhaps that is why you survive." Leo laughed softly. "I don't know if it's bravery or just stubbornness." Ziara appeared beside them, her long silver tail coiling gracefully. "It is not just stubbornness. It is perspective. Humans see the world differently. They see solutions where others see problems. That is a rare gift." Leo considered this. He had never thought of humans as special. Not really. But here in this vast, strange galaxy, it seemed that being human, curious, clever, unpredictable, was a strength. Suddenly, the soft hum of the arena shifted. A new message appeared, addressed to all contestants. "Tomorrow's trial will test emotional intelligence, negotiation, and ethical judgment. Prepare yourselves. Only those who can balance thought with feeling will succeed." Leo frowned. Emotional intelligence? Ethical judgment? He had been good at puzzles and improvisation, but this sounded like a whole new level. He rubbed his temples, thinking about how to prepare. That night, he didn't sleep much. He studied the alien cultures he had observed, read patterns in their interactions, and considered how to approach the next day. For the first time, he felt a mix of fear and excitement. When he returned to the arena the next morning, the atmosphere was tense. Contestants moved silently, eyes focused, wings or limbs coiled for action. The new trial was revealed. A council chamber, floating above the city, filled with delegates from warring alien factions. Contestants had to negotiate peace treaties, resolve disputes, and create agreements acceptable to all parties. Failure meant elimination. Most competitors launched into aggressive strategies. They demanded concessions, flaunted power, or tried to outwit the delegates through intimidation. The aliens watched carefully, noting every mistake. Leo, however, did something different. He listened. He observed the gestures, the tonal shifts, the subtle cues each delegate gave. He asked questions. He acknowledged fears and concerns. Slowly, he suggested compromises that incorporated everyone's needs. Some proposals were unconventional, solutions that combined logic with empathy. But they worked. The delegates nodded, murmured in approval, and reached agreements that seemed impossible at first. When the trial ended, the announcer's voice rang out again. "The human demonstrates qualities of thought, compassion, and ingenuity unmatched by any species. Humanity's potential shines brightly." Leo smiled faintly. He felt proud, but also exhausted. Each trial had tested him in new ways, stretching his mind and his courage. He realized that the universe was vast, full of challenges humans could not have imagined, and yet, somehow, humans could rise to them. Princess Zyra watched him closely. She had seen many contestants attempt the trials, all failing or faltering under pressure. Leo, on the other hand, faced each challenge with a combination of humility, cleverness, and determination. She found herself genuinely impressed. As the day ended, Leo gathered with his teammates. Trelock smiled at him.
"You make humans seem remarkable."
"Perhaps your species has more to offer than even we believed." Zyara nodded, her eyes reflecting the twin suns. "Do not underestimate yourselves, human. Your kind's unpredictability, creativity, and integrity are powerful tools. Use them wisely." Leo leaned back, glancing at the floating horizon. He had survived another day of the Tournament of Bonds. impressing competitors, delegates, and even Princess Syra herself. Yet he knew the toughest challenges were still ahead. Somewhere in the galaxy, he realized, humans had the potential to change everything. Not through brute force, not through alien powers, but through the simple, quiet strength of thought, creativity, and compassion. And Leo Marin, accidental competitor, had just begun to show the galaxy what humans could do. The morning sun burned over the floating city, casting long, shimmering reflections across the arena platforms. Leo rubbed his tired eyes and yawned. Each day of the Tournament of Bonds had pushed him beyond what he thought possible. Yesterday's trials had tested his creativity, teamwork, and empathy. Today promised something even more daunting: strategy and rivalry. He stepped onto the central platform where contestants were gathering. The crowd of aliens was unusually quiet, their attention fixed on the holographic display hovering above. Symbols, lights, and shifting diagrams appeared, forming the outline of a new trial. Leo squinted. The challenge was clear, though its complexity was staggering. Contestants were to retrieve rare artifacts scattered across multiple shifting arenas while navigating traps, rivalries, and unexpected obstacles. The task was not just physical. It required intelligence, foresight, and diplomacy. Competitors could cooperate or sabotage each other. Leo swallowed hard. Humans were not naturally aggressive, but he had learned the value of strategy. Before he could begin, the shiny alien from earlier, the one who had mocked him relentlessly, approached. Its antennae twitched, eyes narrowing. "Human, do you think yesterday's luck will protect you today? This is not about puzzles or empathy. Today is about survival and cunning. Can you handle that?" Leo hesitated. I don't know if I'm lucky. I just try to think. The alien hissed in frustration, and with a flick of its limb, the platforms below them shifted violently. Contestants had no time to waste. Leo gripped his multi-tool, adjusting it for quick calculations and anchoring lines, then leapt onto the first floating platform. The arena shifted as though alive, each step presenting a new puzzle. The first artifact was guarded by a floating, rotating maze of light beams. Competitors zipped through, trying to force paths or teleport across gaps. Leo studied the rhythm, noticing the subtle delay in the beam's rotation. Timing his jump precisely, he swung across, using a rope he had anchored moments before. He reached the artifact while others were still entangled in the beams. Nearby, Trilak and Ziara were also navigating the maze. Trilak waved, gesturing for him to join forces. Leo hesitated. Alliances in this stage were tricky. Trust could be valuable, but betrayal was a risk. After a brief moment of thought, he nodded. "Let's work together," he whispered. They combined skills seamlessly. Trilak's 6 arms manipulated the beams. Zyara's long tail stabilized platforms, and Leo calculated trajectories and timing. Within minutes, they secured the first artifact and moved to the next stage. But not all contestants were cooperative. The shiny alien teamed with 2 other competitors, plotting to block Leo's team from reaching the second artifact. As Leo approached, a section of the arena suddenly tilted, sending his teammates sliding toward a chasm. Reflex and reasoning took over. Leo grabbed a rope, anchored it to a stable platform, and created a pulley system to save Trilak and Zyara just in time. The alien team's sabotage failed. The second artifact floated within a chamber that seemed alive. The walls pulsated with light, reacting to sound and motion. Most competitors panicked. Leo studied the patterns. The walls responded to consistent rhythm, not random actions. He tapped a pattern with his multi-tool, guiding the walls gently apart, allowing him and his team to retrieve the artifact safely. "Human," Trilak said, her voice full of admiration. "You really do see things others don't. You make us better." Leo shook his head. "I'm just paying attention. That's all." The third stage tested psychological insight. Contestants faced holographic illusions designed to exploit their fears and doubts. Some competitors froze, trapped in simulations of failure. Leo focused on reality. He knew that fear was a tool, not a prison. He observed patterns, recognized the illusions, and carefully navigated through, helping Trelock and Ziara follow safely. By now, whispers among other competitors were growing louder. The human survives everything. No one expected a species without powers to excel like this. Even Princess Ira leaned forward, intrigued. She had watched the tournament unfold with curiosity, but Leo's combination of courage, reasoning, and ingenuity captivated her attention in a way no other contestant had. The final stage of the day appeared suddenly. A massive, multi-level arena with moving platforms, energy barriers, and shifting gravity zones. Competitors had to place the artifacts in a central pedestal while avoiding traps and rivals. Leo surveyed the arena. Most contestants panicked, rushing forward without a plan. Leo, however, paused, calculating trajectories, observing rivals' movements, and identifying stable zones. He signaled Trelock and Ziara.
We need a route that avoids conflict. Let's move as a unit, using the platforms that remain stable longest.
Watch the energy fields. They pulse every 7 seconds. Time our jumps with the rhythm. They moved as one, precise and coordinated. Competitors tried to intercept them, but Leo anticipated every move, adjusting ropes, pulleys, and platform anchors to counter every attempt. Finally, they reached the central pedestal and placed the artifacts in their proper positions. A brilliant beam of light shot upward, signaling their victory. The alien announcer's voice boomed. The human demonstrates strategy, teamwork, and foresight unmatched by any other species. The unpredictable human continues to astonish the galaxy. Leo collapsed onto a platform, exhausted but exhilarated. Trelock and Ziara joined him, smiling. You truly are remarkable, human, Ziara said softly. Perhaps your species is underestimated. Leo nodded, looking out at the floating city below. I guess humans just think differently. That's all. But not everyone was pleased. The shiny alien scowled from a distance, plotting.
This human, we cannot allow him to win. He is clever, unpredictable, and already gaining influence.
He must be stopped. Leo was unaware of the brewing plots. For now, he focused on survival, strategy, and learning as much as he could about the alien cultures around him. He knew that the tournament would only become harder, with rivals growing more desperate and obstacles more dangerous. Later, Leo found himself resting in a quiet alcove. He studied the alien maps he had gathered, noting shifting platforms, energy currents, and behavioral patterns of other competitors. Knowledge, he realized, was more valuable than brute strength. A human mind capable of learning and adapting could succeed even in a world designed for beings far more powerful. Princess Zyra appeared at a distance, observing him silently. She had grown curious about the human's methods. He did not fight with weapons or powers. He used logic, observation, and kindness to overcome challenges. It was unusual, refreshing, and somehow human. That evening, Leo returned to the balcony where he had spent the previous night. Trelock and Ziara joined him. They shared stories of their home worlds, cultures, and experiences, marveling at the way humans approached problems. Leo listened, asked questions, and shared his own perspective, the kind of perspective that relied on curiosity and ingenuity rather than aggression or dominance. I never thought I'd understand humans, Trelock said. But you think in ways we cannot predict. Leo laughed softly. I don't know if it's thinking or stubbornness. Sometimes I just try something until it works. Ziara smiled, her silver tail curling around her. Perhaps that is the gift of your kind. You adapt. You learn. You surprise. That is power in itself. The next morning, the announcer's voice rang out. Tomorrow's trials will test perception, resourcefulness, and the ability to influence outcomes without direct confrontation. Only the most adaptable will survive. Leo swallowed. He had survived puzzles, mazes, storms, teamwork, and strategy challenges. What could be next, he didn't know. But he felt ready, not because he had any special power, but because humans had ingenuity, creativity, and perseverance, qualities that no alien could fully predict or counter. As the sun set over the floating city, Leo stood at the balcony's edge. Looking at the alien skyline, he thought about Earth, his home, and how small it seemed compared to the vastness of the galaxy. Yet, he realized, humans had a place here. Humans had potential, the kind that could outthink, outmaneuver, and outlast species with powers far beyond their own. He felt a strange sense of pride, tempered with anticipation. The next day would bring new trials, more rivalries, and greater challenges. But Leo Marin, the accidental human competitor, had survived the tournament's first major stage. He had earned respect, formed alliances, and shown that humanity could thrive, even in a galaxy designed to test the strongest. Princess Syra's gaze lingered on him as she turned away. She did not yet know what would happen next, but she was intrigued. This human had survived impossible odds, outsmarted competitors, and impressed aliens and delegates alike. Perhaps the galaxy, she thought, had underestimated humanity. Leo returned to his quarters, Mr. Whiskers curling at his feet. He reflected on the lessons of the day. Observation, patience, collaboration, and trust. Humans could do things no one expected. And in this tournament, being human might just be the greatest advantage of all. As he drifted to sleep under the alien stars, Leo knew one thing for certain. The challenges ahead would be harder. But he was ready. He was human, and humans survived against all odds, not by being the strongest, fastest, or most powerful, but by thinking, adapting, and never giving up. And tomorrow, the galaxy would see just how unpredictable humanity could truly be.